Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the It Doesn't Matter podcast. And we've got myself, Strap Facts, John, and we've got...
We got the Dominican Dream, baby. This is Papi Plátano.
There he is. And recurring guest, we've got...
Savage Eddie Long.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
There he is. And we've got the host of the show, we've got...
I'm the notorious one. I am Dom. Boom.
All right, we are gathered here today to discuss a character, a man, a manager, Bobby
And a weasel.
the Brain Heenan. Dom, what do we got going on this week with Bobby the Brain Heenan?
We are discussing Bobby the Brain Heenan because he has a birthday, and we figured we would acknowledge him. Bobby the Brain Heenan, he is a GOAT. One of the greatest managers of all time, one of the greatest commentators of all time. I'm not going to say one of the greatest wrestler, but he was a great entertainer. That's what Bobby the Brain Heenan was. So I want to start with Savage Eddie Long. What was your first memory of Bobby the Brain Heenan?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So it's not on video. My first memory of Bobby the Brain Heenan is in the form of an action figure. Do you remember the old rubber action figures? They all were just posed like this, right?
LGNs, I think.
Or like this.
It was all stiff, yeah.
Yeah, they were all stiff. But they were very detailed, but they didn't move. But those are like the first wrestling figures, and they had Hogan, they had Macho Man. I remember all those. I remember Big John Studd, but I also remember a Bobby the Brain Heenan figure, and I don't know how old I was, single digits for sure. But just remember thinking, because I liked wrestling, but when I had moved to my new neighborhood, my friend across the street had all these figures, and I was like, oh crap, I like wrestling, but whoa. And he had all these figures, and the Bobby the Brain Heenan one stood out to me because I didn't know who Bobby the Brain Heenan was, but I'm like, why does this guy have an action figure? Like, who's this dude? This is just a man. He had like a black dress shirt on and black slacks, and you're like, so I'm very young. I'm not really getting the idea of a manager, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I was introduced to Bobby the Brain Heenan.
You're giving me flashbacks. I think I had that action figure back in the day. Like,
I think he was like this. He was doing something like this.
I'm about to look that up.
He was like pointing or something.
Yeah, I really think so.
They were all posed like this or whatever, like very generic, and
Yep.
they didn't move. They were molds. But he was like something slick that the Weasel would do.
That was like
I can't imagine Mama Williams saying, "Son, you want this? You really want this?"
Hell no, Mama Williams ain't do that. My grandfather was a custodian at BP Mission, so whoever left their stuff, I used to have. So
Yes,
used to bring it home. So I'm looking at an action figure right now, and Bobby the Brain Heenan got the black pants on. He have the blue jacket with the collars open up, and they got the big BH on that, and he's just like that right now. So,
Yeah.
So that's what I believe. I had that one right there. So.
And I'm nothing if not extra. And this is a true story. My friend across the street, he had his action figures in this old case, right?
Ooh.
And I somehow wound up with it. And when I say old, I mean this is like a treasure chest. Like that. It's got a mirror in it. But I wound up with this somehow, and I used to keep my Legos in it, and now my son keeps his Legos in it.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Toys that made us.
That's all I got. Toys that made us. Yep.
Oh man, Plotino, what about you? What was your first memory of Bobby?
I gotta say it's more towards the WCW side because I don't really remember him too much with WWF. I think he was there in Mania 9, so it was like very brief. I was so little, so he didn't really like stand out to me, even though he's like one of the most notorious managers of all time. But his commentating, oh my God, I never laughed so much harder looking back on some of these episodes, especially when you hear him talking to Tony Schiavone. It's like, he wants to crack, and he's probably telling like, Bobby, stop doing that to me.
Bobby's probably drunk.
I can only imagine how Bobby and Gorilla were back in the days, because I've seen clips of those from before we was kids, and Just, I remember one thing he said. He walks by the fish market and goes, "Hello, ladies."
Bobby had a lot of one-liners, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
he did.
He has a face a mother could love, and she's blind. He's as tough as a marshmallow. Oh man,
Tough as a marshmallow. That sounds like a Bobby.
The money is the same whether you earn it or you scam it. Bobby the Brain Heenan. Bobby's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Oh man, John, what about you?
I think my formative years with Bobby the Brain Heenan was on those VHS rental tapes from Flash Action Video across the street, and WrestleMania's 5 through 9, I believe, 5 through 9, and it transitioned from Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura being the color commentators, and they were great. They were just great, and then it transitioned to Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, and not a step was lost. You could perhaps say it was even better than Jesse Ventura was as a commentator. So that was my first exposure, really, I guess, to Bobby Heenan. Not in their prime, but because it's almost like Platino there. I would see him in WCW as a commentator on Nitro, and I would follow his career from there. But his earliest work, I would say, would be the WrestleManias, whichever one's he called, between 5 and WrestleMania 9.
I think he was there in number 3 as well with
Of course he was
Hogan
at
and Andre.
Hell yeah, he had the whole white outfit on, the white and gold outfit. You can't miss him.
Yeah, didn't he accompany Andre?
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He
absolutely,
accompanied
yeah.
a couple guys.
He had a
that
few
night,
matches
didn't
that night. Yeah,
he? Imagine how all his paydays were.
Bobby was there for a good 9 years in WWF.
Back in the day, a manager actually managed these wrestlers, so like they helped them go town to town and book the hotels and all that. So I can only imagine if, say, you have 4 or 5 guys, you're basically riding for free and just telling these guys about their matches, trying to build them up, and basically be what he always played as a character. Like, hey, you're doing this wrong, you need to do that, and then this, that, and third. And obviously, he had the ear of Vince McMahon at the time. So, if, like he said, if you listen to me, you go to the top. If you don't, well, you're lucky to get lunchbox.
I don't think that's how it goes.
Ad
but-
lib and
I know.
Platino.
That was mine. That was me. Just I had to ad lib.
Listen to me, you go to the top. You don't listen to me, well, never heard from again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my first memories of Bobby, besides watching all the VCR shit back in the day, I remember him, I believe it was Clash of the Champions. I think that's when he made his debut in WCW, I want to say. And you see Mean
Really?
Gene, oh my goodness, no, it can't be. Bobby Heenan, like, why do you keep following me? Like, I remember that. And he came out there with the red blazer on, and the fans are chanting Weasel, and that's sort of like one of my first memories of Bobby the Brain Heenan. But going back, watching all the old WrestleManias, and now we got Peacock, you can see what's going on. And if you guys ever have like a good half hour to yourself, put on the old primetime wrestling or the Tuesday Night Titans with him and Vince, or him and Gorilla, and you guys will crack up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, the matches might not be great, but just listen to the commentary, and Bobby will just keep you just entertained just with his his vocals, man. He's way ahead of his time at that point. So
He is, and he's genuine too. We like to watch the shoot interviews, and Bobby gives a great one, and he's very much in character. He's so laid back, but all the one-liners are there. He's a funny guy, and that's probably why he was so good at commentary, or why he's so funny at commentary, because it was being natural. It wasn't like he was out there and told to be the funny one. He had all that. He was going to bring you that.
now I heard back in the days, I forget, it might have been Bruce that did a podcast on Bobby. Now he grew up with his mom, like all women in his house.
His mom and his grandmother, yeah.
All right, so you could just imagine all the chatty catties in there coming in and out, and he's just sitting there like, what are they saying? What they're saying? Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds good. Just
Yeah, he said his mom was like a big jokester as well too, so that's where he got it from,
yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that about him. I'm always interested in where wrestlers get their inspiration from. I like to see like the old footage. You can see where their gimmick is kind of starting to form, for some of them. But Bobby not really being a wrestler out of the gate, that was a little different for him. He kind of just showed up and was like Mr. Charisma. He just always had it.
Yeah, it's charisma is one of those things you can't teach at all, no matter who it is. Either you got it or you don't. There's just certain people that just come into a room and everybody's just drawn to that person. And some people, they can be, I don't know, look like Hulk Hogan, and then you get next to them, you're like, I'm done with it.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying about the action figures. Is he's just a guy.
Yeah.
But he gets an action figure because his personality was right up there with Hogan, Macho, and everybody else that got an action figure. Big John Studd, are you kidding me? Yeah. Bobby the Brain Heenan was more charismatic than Big John Studd.
Well, it's like you said, even his character, he's just got that pose like.
Yeah, it says everything. Weasel.
Yeah. That just right there. It's just, all right, who's this guy? I need to know who he is. So, there you go.
Would you guys say he had the best stable, one of the greatest families of all time? I'm not talking about no NYE family. I'm talking about, no Dungeon of Doom, but you think he had like the best group of guys that he managed? A lot of Hall of Famers that he managed, a lot of champions that he managed. He had Andre. He had the adorable Adrian Adonis. He had the Brain Busters, who was named after Bobby the Brain Heenan. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. You had Big John Studd. Had Playboy Buddy Rose. Haku. He had the King, Harley Race. Had Big Cat, Ernie Ladd. Brooklyn Brawler. King Kong Bundy. Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect.
Paul Orndorff.
Oh, yeah.
Ric Flair. Ravishing Rick Rude. And there's plenty more. Those like all the top.
Yeah,
guys.
Rude too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like.
Oh yeah, there's plenty that you didn't list. I'm sure.
He had the Blackjacks.
I forgot he had the Blackjacks.
I think it was like AWA or whatever.
Jeez.
Managing Mr. Perfect is interesting. Flair too, because these are two guys that do not need a mouthpiece.
Rude
too. Rick Rude
too.
Rude too, yeah. But I guess maybe I'm foggy on how they started with the three of them, Rude, Perfect, and Flair. But I guess maybe it's justified because they're just starting out, so we don't know what they're gonna blossom into. I don't remember him managing Flair. I feel like that can't happen, but I guess it did. I just don't remember it. If somebody wants to fill me in on that, but somebody like a Perfect or a Savage, someone like a Perfect or a Ravishing Rick Rude, maybe it was just earlier and they weren't really established characters. I don't know. I don't remember those. I don't remember those too much.
Well, with Flair, that's when he came over from WCW and he brought the big gold belt. You're the real world champion, and that's how that happened. And then I'm not sure how he got with Mr. Perfect, but Bobby, he complimented Perfect so well. Like when he threw the rag and Bobby just catch it like nothing.
My God.
Yeah,
that is the most viral meme
everywhere. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's funny because I just don't recall that happening. I remember, or I don't recall how that happened. I know that it happened. I remember that clip and all that stuff, but I just can't remember that time. I'm having a hard time remembering what it was like to have someone like Mr. Perfect have a manager.
Strap, you remember that? How them two paired together?
No, I do remember the pairing between the two, and sometimes the debuts of certain acts is very memorable. Like when the Macho Man debuted, and everyone was trying to curry his wanting to be his manager, and who's it going to be, the Grand Wizard or Captain Lou or Jimmy Hart or whoever? And it's like, Miss Elizabeth, who is that?
Yeah.
So that's a memorable debut for a manager. But no, I don't recall either how Mr. Perfect and Bobby Heenan got together. But he was a manager. He had the Heenan family, and one of my favorite acts from that was hopefully he did manage. That was the Barbarian and the Warlord. And that was another team that I think he managed.
Wait, I want to say Slick managed them too.
Yeah.
I believe so. The 80s had a lot of
Slick managed Warlord. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think
I feel like they had some kind of connection over the years.
I know when he managed Hoku, the King.
Haku,
Haku, who was he partnered with at the time too? After
Haku?
before WCW,
Andre.
the
It was
Colossal
Haku and Andre.
connection, yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Haku and Andre?
Yeah, the Colossal connection.
Yeah, but Andre was already on the way down. I mean, way down by then.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you know, just like Don was mentioning how, you know, Bobby introduced Ric Flair. Oh, he's coming. I got a guy. He's the real world champion. Here he's coming, you know, and there he was.
Yeah.
You know what would have been
Oh, yeah.
dope at that time when Flair was there and Arn and Tully? You could have had your 4 horsemen right there.
I think they just missed each other. I believe at that time. I think Arn and Tully just left right after Flair got in, or vice versa. If I remember correctly. So they might have just missed each other.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Because I know Arn and Tully, they were WrestleMania 5, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't think they were at 6. I think they had left by
WrestleMania 5.
by SummerSlam.
That's 1989.
Yeah, I think they left around SummerSlam, and then that's when they came back around War Games in WCW.
So 89, and Flair showed up in, what,
91?
Damn.
Yep.
All right, never mind then.
Yeah.
Would have been good.
What
though.
about Cornette's debut? I don't know what year Bobby left WWF, because that was the year Cornette came in, which was 93. But Bobby the Brain Heenan, a heel. Cornette comes in, a heel, and he introduces them, and they link up with each other in the ring. And it's like right away, you know, if you didn't know Jim Cornette and you're in that crowd, you know you're supposed to hate him because he's best friends with Bobby the Brain Heenan.
What, this
That's
happened
another
this
memorable
happened on
debut.
Raw?
I can assume, it was Raw.
So 93?
I would assume Raw. I can't remember the show. But 93 is when Cornette went into WWF, and that is the same year Bobby the Brain Heenan left.
Yeah, because
They did their little thing, and then he was out.
Yeah, they left.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Wow, that's not a great time for me, brother. I think, you know, I have this memory of, you know, Bobby Heenan being tossed out of Monday Night Raw
Manhattan
on
Center.
the first episode, but that's probably incorrect. I think he might have been tossed out on the first episode of Raw in 1994, maybe, because I think he was around that first year of Raw, Bobby Heenan, but I'm not positive.
Ron Bartlett took his
Is
spot.
the first year of Raw 94?
93.
93.
93?
January 93, yeah.
Yeah, I think I do believe the first episode, Bobby was trying to get into Raw, and they were doing everything.
Yeah,
they
that
could
sounds familiar.
to make sure he didn't get in.
Damn, so
Berenstain, who knows?
damn, so he took time off. 'Cause he showed up in WCW in 94.
Yeah,
Yep.
So,
so
all right, so maybe, I don't know.
early 90s, a long time ago.
Yes. Like you said, early 90s is a long time ago, and wrestling today needs more managers. They need it because Bobby was that guy. He was that vocal. He was that he had the mouthpiece for the guys who needed it. And he will draw you heat. Just little things that he do. You know, you see a guy just laid up on the ropes when the ref ain't looking, slap him one good time, just keep on walking. Like, you don't see that no more. Or he just choke him in the corner with the rope or something like that. They need more managers. I know we always mention this every time we talk about some type of manager.
Well, he's the archetype for what a good manager should be. Like, his nickname is the Weasel, and the best managers are weasels. They hide behind their big huge heel that they're managing. The good guy wants to get to them. I mean, it's a tale as old as time because it always works. They do need more managers nowadays, and gosh, it feels like both companies both companies employ so many wrestlers. I mean, they're not all on TV, and they all should be charismatic enough to be a manager. I would think. I would think, because you're going to have to grab the stick if you're a wrestler anyways. So cut your teeth somehow. It's better than putting the damn ring together.
Yeah, I think AEW is way ahead of that on the manager side. It's just they don't utilize them like the Bobby Brain Heenan would. I think anything close to that right now would be Don Callis, but
it's the
He's
visual on AEW.
yeah,
I
I
think
know.
that they have it there. You know, you could say, yeah, they do have the managers. You're right about that. But what to do with them? I mean, they could be such a big part of a storyline. Oh, what's the guy's name? Paul Heyman. I mean, they could be
Paul Heyman.
they could be the driving force behind the storyline if they
Paul
do it right.
Heyman's Paul Heyman's a completely different beast, man. I can't even deny that. There's managers and then there's Paulie. It's apples to pomegranates.
But would you compare Paul Heyman to Bobby the Brain Heenan as that manager, that commentator, that overall entertainer? Would you compare him to that? Because ain't nobody else that's close to him whatsoever.
I would definitely, I would say he's close. Bobby's got a bigger lead than him, but man, he's closing the gap every single time he shows up on TV. Especially that last power bomb he took. I was like, uh-oh. Paul's
See,
really
right,
actually
right there.
that he's really gonna take a bump. Wow.
I was just gonna say, you know, granted, we just watched Paulie take a mega bump. I mean, the list of bumps that Bobby the Brain Heenan used to take. I mean,
yeah.
This man was bumping every night, real bumps every night, every night. So, in that category, he can be ahead of Paulie. But there's charisma as a category in general. There's mic skills, but nowadays, they have a lot more room for the drama. I mean, wrestling was always about drama and storyline and convincing the crowd that what they were seeing and hearing is real. But I mean, like, come on. In the time when we got like Roman Reigns coming up and all that, when Dean Ambrose was in WWE, I mean, they used to have that microphone in their hand for 25 minutes and they weren't saying anything. But the good ones were still out there giving you stage, like play level acting. It's just different. And Paulie could be in any movie directed by any Hollywood director and he would kill it. I don't know that that's true for Bobby the Brain Heenan. He existed in this universe and he was like tip of the top. But Paulie might get a little bit of an edge because he could do a few other things a little bit better than Bobby the Brain Heenan could do. But in fairness, Bobby the Brain Heenan didn't want to do any of that.
No.
He wanted to be right in this lane and he excelled at it. So
I think
hard to say.
Yeah. I think what Paul did with the whole not sleeping for a while, letting himself go for a little bit and looking like he really is depressed.
Method acting.
That is next level, like you said, method acting. That is, I haven't seen any act or any manager when their guy is done or not done, just loses like that, and you are just a hot mess. Like, if Bobby had done that, like, oh my God, I put all my effort into Andre and he failed me, or Rick was doing so great and then boom, he lost the match to Mach. The title to Mach, because that's the only guy I think he lost the belt to in WWE. There's so many different things, man. It's crazy.
So, you know, we always talk about rivalries. We talk about, you know, Rock and Cena, Bret, Shawn, Triple H, and whoever. One of the greatest rivalries of the 80s was Bobby the Brain Heenan and Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
He brought in every single guy to take out Hogan, and Hogan beat all these dudes. And all these guys that Hogan fought, for a good majority of them, they got put over, I have to say.
Yep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Who does that? Who does that? How can you get from Big John Studd to Orndorff and whoever else, Haku, to face Hogan, and you in the primetime spot, you in the main event. Obviously, you lose, of course, but you don't see that. The closest thing that you've seen was in WCW when you've seen Kevin Sullivan trying to take out Hogan.
Man, it wasn't even close.
Yeah. That would be a good storyline to bring back. I mean, wrestling's full of tropes that keep getting repeated, and also like straight up storylines, original ideas that people had that you thought fit specific characters, but you can revive them. You just slap some new characters and put them in place, and the storyline will still go. What a great idea that would be. What a great idea that would be for somebody to just be like, I am so sick of this guy. And then like you just try to bring in dudes. But none of that works without a credible face. Hogan was obviously that. But I mean, like, you can't do that for anybody. At least not with any heel. You could do it with Cody, but I mean, like, if they keep feeding Cody dudes that look like Braun or like Omos, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you're not
come
gonna
on.
believe that.
You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different because then you want somebody a little more Cody's size, and those guys tend to not need managers. So it really is with someone like Cody, it's more of a one-on-one. You need that big, huge, good guy and have a little Weasley. But I mean, that's a good storyline that should be brought back. That'd be easy. And it's not really bad that they copied that from Bobby the Brain Heenan, I think. It's
Would
fine.
you
It's
say
forgivable.
something that's similar to it was Vince feeding everybody to Austin? Would you say something similar to that?
I would say it's different.
Yeah, I mean,
The corporation.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same concept, but maybe they handled it really differently. But it's a little bit in there where just one guy is fat. Yeah, a non-wrestler fascinated with beating a wrestler. I mean, it's in there, but I think it was handled way different. It was handled way differently because Vince is the boss.
Yeah.
You know, the storylines played out way different because Vince had all the power.
How you feeling about this, John? You've been a little bit quiet lately, baby. We're gonna hear your opinion.
What's the question?
Pull your opinion out and flop it on the table, John.
What was that? Gotcha.
Thought that was a cold fish.
Yeah, just keep the camera up, all right?
Oh, shit. Maybe come on my headset.
Bobby the Brain Heenan moment.
Whoa. You know, if we're reaching back just a little bit to the previous thought, you know, if anyone could be like a modern, like bring managers into the modern day or modern day managers, yeah. Like Paul Heyman is the prototype. Paul Heyman is the guy. He is the Bobby Heenan of today. I'm not saying he's, you know, doing the funny promos or the funny gimmicks, but to be the number one manager, that's Paul Heyman, and in AEW, that's definitely Don Callis, and they kind of are doing that kind of gimmick. I mean, you can't do it, word for word the same gimmick because it just doesn't work. It's a different time. Back then, you could do the monster of the month, the monster of the week because you didn't have as much television to promote, so you had, you know, maybe a Saturday night main event special every 3 or 4 months, and then you could say, oh my God, King Kong Bundy this time. And by the time you did all the house show loops and the local arena events, then you could put it on Saturday night's main event and be like, well, we already made our money with this. Now we can put it on the TV show. And then, okay, there goes, you know, Bundy. All right. Oh my God. It's an earthquake, you know, and it just keeps going like that. You could run 4 major villains per year for a Hulk Hogan as the world champion. You can't do that now with so much product out there in any company, you know. And didn't Cody and Omos, didn't they actually have a match like at a pay-per-view? Or am I making that up? I feel like it happened.
I think so. Too.
Cody and Omos.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. Whatever. A lot of things happen in wrestling. But for Cody, yeah, like, you know, if he's having a series of matches with AJ Styles and Finn Balor, then yeah, those guys don't need managers. They can, they're double threats. They can talk and wrestle, you know. Excuse me. But yeah, in AEW, you know, Don Callis, he has whatever he wants to call it. I mean, the storyline got messed up because Kenny Omega got injured. Or had the diverticulitis, and that really messed up the entire angle. It really messed up the whole thing. And so his guy was Takeshita. And then, Will Ospreay came into the scene, and Will Ospreay was a heel, and he was there with Takeshita and the Aussie Open guy. Kyle Fletcher. And now, currently, it's morphed into Will Ospreay is the big-time babyface, and Takeshita is the big-time heel. That guy is the next up-and-coming heel, Will Fletcher?
Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher, okay. So Kyle Fletcher is the, next in line in Don Callis' group, and, Don Callis also signed, or he swapped with Jake the Snake Roberts. He got Lance Archer and Brian Cage, so he's managing them now. So Don Callis is like the manager du jour in AEW. They got lots of managers in AEW. Such like Stokely Hathaway. He was kind of doing like this babyface thing for a little bit, and then he was a heel, and now he's managing nobody. He's trying to get the pickings from Private Party. So there's 20 minutes left in Dynamite. So don't you say a damn word about Private Party and the Young Bucks tonight. But their career's on the line. If Private Party lose to the Young Bucks, they break up forever. And Stokely Hathaway is going to pick up the pieces of one half of Private Party, maybe.
What happens if the Bucks lose?
They lose the tag team championships.
They don't have to break up?
No, they don't have to break up. But to get the title shot, Isaiah put it on the line. Anywho.
I'll be watching that tonight.
But yeah, so managers. I mean, like with Vince McMahon out of the picture for some time now, is Triple H a fan of managers? Is Paul Levesque a fan of them? Because he could bring them back, and you know what, they are back. And in addition to Don Callis, you have an MVP bringing the Hurt Situation into AEW. He's working on that right now. So MVP is a great talker.
Yes.
And he's doing a great job. And we still get to see Lashley maybe, but we know it's coming. So he's there as well. And for WWE, I don't know. I don't know who else they just got rid of Paul Ellering a little while ago, but Karrion Kross makes a good mouthpiece for his group, even though he has Scarlett, But the effective managers, yeah, they can totally spruce up the business, and some people, they can totally be that. And, if you want to do not a conspiracy theory per se, but you can say Vince McMahon tried to bring back
Yeah.
managers. Max Dupree, better known as L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
So I tried to bring back a manager, Adam Cole. He didn't want to do it. Max Dupree, I tried to do it with him too.
That's what
Didn't happen.
That's what Samantha Irvin wanted to be. She wanted to be a manager.
They're full of shit.
That's what she said. She said she took the announcing job just so she could, get her foot inside the door and do that.
Yeah.
And she hated
Yeah, I read
announcing.
that too.
I'm like, girl, you good. Yeah, make this money.
I know, it's crazy that she hated it. She did it with her whole chest. I mean, I couldn't tell that she hated it.
For
She
real.
was very, very, very good at it.
She was good.
I think they're just trolling the fans.
Yeah.
Both of them. That damn dirty couple.
Yeah.
So she's probably happy she can say whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Go back to them
Woo,
pictures
woo.
we used to get every Wednesday.
I know, damn right.
Flip,
Happy
and
hump
fly.
day, fellas.
All right, let's get back to the commentary. Who do you think is his greatest tag team partner in the commentary? Booth.
Ooh.
I mean,
Gorilla Monsoon, baby.
yeah, it kind of has to be.
It is Gorilla.
Yeah.
It is Gorilla. Tony's cool, but it definitely was Gorilla.
Will you stop?
Do you guys think?
Yeah,
Do you guys think that their commentary was scripted, or is it just everything organic? Gorilla went, probably note for note, and then Bobby just said what he had to say. Do you think that was just all natural?
no, they were just feeding off each other, and I think that what they were doing is also, we use the word archetype. I mean, you've just got to get people in that position that can just go. You just, there's always the beats that they have to hit, the things they have to promote, but I mean, like, you just can't do it. You can't do it and have it sound that good, and their charisma wouldn't come through. Not like they couldn't handle material given to them, but I mean, like, what we liked about them was what they came up with,
I mean, JR says it all the time when he was commentating with King. He said, "I'm the point guard, and I'm just giving the star play the ball every time I see it." So it's like, all right, where's the ball going? Boom, left. All right, he needs to go right. Boom, cut it right, and then just go with it. I mean, like you said, Gorilla was probably hitting those notes that he needed to just to promote the show and do like play-by-play here and there. But Bobby was the one that kept the the matches like light-headed and and calm when shit wasn't going the way it should have.
Yeah, it's simple. You tell them what to talk about, but not how to talk about it, and
Exactly.
that's it. And if they're good in that position, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
I remember when I think it was like Tatanka's debut. Hey, how are ya? Hey, how are ya?
My goodness.
Tito Santana, the flying burrito.
Well, that was Jesse.
Was it Jesse?
That was Jesse. The flying burrito.
I forgot. He
That will
said
not fly.
something at WrestleMania 7. I think when Warrior and Macho Man, they was going at it, and he seen Elizabeth. And he was like, he said something like, "Hey Toots, hey Toots." I forgot what he said. He just he was a character.
Yeah.
He'll never be a Bobby the Brain Heenan, especially on commentary, because you will be canceled.
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Not even on Netflix, it still would get canceled. I didn't realize that Sergeant Slaughter became Sergeant Slaughter when he debuted with Bobby the Brain Heenan. Is that true? That well, for WWE, not the became, but when he debuted in WWE, he was with Bobby the Brain Heenan as well. That character of Sergeant Slaughter debuted in WWE with Bobby the Brain.
Really?
Didn't know that.
He's a heel?
When Slaughter came in, he was
That's
good.
what maybe he wasn't a heel.
I would figure he's got the G.I. Joe deal, so he'd probably come in as a babyface and then try to, because I know they was trying to swing Hogan.
No, he was wasn't that the point that he'd come in like hey maggot and all that stuff? You know what I mean? That's an order.
I don't know.
Wasn't
I have to look that up.
Dom, text Kelly Slaughter right now. See what she says.
Yeah. She might know more than
yeah
us.
that when he came into the WWE as that character, that it was with Bobby the Brain Heenan. That Sergeant Slaughter's debut, as we know him, wasn't alone. That he was accompanied by Bobby the Brain Heenan.
I don't know.
It would make sense if they want to keep Hogan the babyface and you have that heel, and then he turns babyface again.
Yeah, because he was a mean drill instructor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I just don't remember him being that until he joined with General Adnan, and then the whole, with everything going on.
He was a babyface in the beginning, and he might have took some time off, and then that's when he probably became a heel. I'm not exactly sure. Strap, this is your job. Come on, now.
We all know Strap does 1984 and above. This is too old for me, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit before that.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Just like Eddie said, it's like why couldn't he be a heel? Who wants the drill instructor? He's not a nice guy.
No.
Yeah, because he debuted as like this finger wagging, tough guy, right? Just to put him over, and then he becomes popular, and then that's when you have him pulled away from the company so he can go sell action figures for G.I. Joe.
Okay. Yeah, it's possible. It probably was the way you said it.
I don't know, but the Bobby Heenan, he had a lot of projects later on, not necessarily projects, but I think he had 2 books. I read those 2 books. I wish there was more of them because his humor came through just as well in those. And he did a couple of shoot interviews, and kind of almost like Ric Flair. Like I watched a lot of Ric Flair shoot interviews. If you can say you can be proud of yourself for watching one. It was like a High Spots Ric Flair. It was like 4 discs. It was like 8 hours.
Yeah,
watching Ric Flair go off on everything, and then, but a lot of those shoots, Bobby Heenan had a couple by himself, and he did I think it's called Straight Shooting with Jim Cornette and Bobby Heenan. They had 3 volumes of that. That you will not find on Honor Club. It's only on DVD somewhere, but that was fun because watching those 2 legends interact, and of course, Bobby Heenan when he was, when he was still Bobby Heenan, his last great appearance was at WrestleMania 17, the gimmick battle royal. I can't tell you how many times I've watched that back over and over again. And it's always a pleasure. And you see Heenan and Mean Gene coming out, and you know you're just gonna have a great time with that because JR and the King. That's when they take a powder. They just let them go at it. You know.
Yeah.
Mean Gene not necessarily the best commentator, but you know, for a small segment, he could hold his own with his old friend Bobby Heenan, and Heenan would always wonder why, you know, like Vince McMahon would never hire him back to the WWF at the time, and I mean, I feel bad for him, but it's like kind of like I think, come on, man, I think you're way past your prime at that point.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a spot. You know, they had JR and the King, they had, you know, Taz and Cole, so there wasn't a spot for him. And then you'd see Bobby Heenan as a talking head on lots of DVDs, most notoriously the Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD, where like I can wrestle.
Yeah.
Drop me on my head every time, every night.
That sounds just like it.
Yeah, and you know, you can see his declining health, and it's very sad, very unfortunate. But for a guy known for being the absolute best talker, you know, he would succumb to, he would be unable to speak as the years went on. And I mean, we like to glorify the old Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior now, sort of, but man, he said some bad things. It's like, Bobby, he ain't got what he deserved. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Warrior, not such a nice guy. That's why that Warrior Award is such a. They don't even do that anymore, I think. But
Hope not.
I think we should rename it. You know. Anyway, that's another issue.
But Strap, you seen Bobby the Brain Heenan because you was at WrestleMania 20. We covered this earlier this year. Yeah, I think we covered it earlier this year. WrestleMania 20. Remember they had that backstage segment with May Young. May tonguing him down in the back. She wanted
such a pro. He's like, don't put me in there as he's closing the door.
Yep.
No, May, no.
Yeah, so he was in the Hall of Fame that year. He came out 2004.
I suppose.
Bobby the Brain Heenan, the greatest of all time.
The same year that moron Jesse Vadi Ventura, you know, I think there should be a wrestler in the White House. He said it the night before the Hall of Fame. He said it at WrestleMania itself. No pop. That's an underrated tribal chief line that needs more play.
Yep.
Seth Rollins, no pop.
Yeah, it is.
That was great, though.
Oh man. Well, that's all I got for Bobby the Brain Heenan. You guys have any final thoughts on the Brain?
Well, we didn't talk about his debut.
Yeah.
So there's a fun story about his debut that he was supposed to debut as a manager of tag team, the Assassins, and one of them was injured or unavailable for some reason. So they asked Bobby to step in. Or not a debut, but he was managing the Assassins. And I know this because I heard Jim Cornette tell this story, and it was in Louisville. But he stepped in the role of one of the Assassins, and they wore masks, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. But on the first night that he wrestled, it was in a mask as an assassin, and he drew enough heat that a fan hopped the barrier to try to pull him down from the apron.
Oh, wow.
So he jumped right into it.
WCW?
No. Forever back forever. Like
AWA, whatever.
Yeah, this is like super duper early.
Okay, all right.
Before WCW, before he's even thought of as a commentator, because he was doing both.
All right,
that's crazy.
Yeah, heat from the beginning.
Bobby did it all. Oh yeah. Somebody tried to shoot him one time back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, that
real, damn it.
That night when he put on the mask and wrestled as an assassin, the cops were called. There was enough going on that they even called the police. So heat from the beginning, heat out of the gate.
It's good for business.
Make me not want to come back. Crazy.
Yeah, he's the best.
You know, inspiring me. You know, Dom had pulled a few lines from Bobby Heenan earlier, and here I Google the same exact thing, and he top 25 quotes by Bobby Heenan, the first one that pops up. Very relevant right now. So if you allow me a moment. The two things that scare me most about wrestling fans is that they're allowed to vote and allowed to reproduce. That's one of them. Vote early. Vote soon. You win some and you lose some. Unless you're Virgil, then you lose them all.
I remember him saying that.
Remember, folks, fish are like relatives. After 2 days, they stink.
Yep.
Hey, Don, this one's for you. Tito Santana is like a cue ball. The more you strike him, the more English you get out of him.
Oh my God.
Oh, my God, Jannetty tried to dive through the window to escape. What an act of cowardice.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
I didn't realize he was the commentator for that.
Oh, yeah. 91, 92.
Cowardice.
I thought it'd been Gorilla and Jesse at that time, but
Here's
wow.
one. North Dakota State. What do you have to do there to graduate? Milk a cow with your left hand? Stu Hart trained all his kids. Only 3 of them used the litter box.
Bobby the Brain.
And for those of you that dropped out of high school, remember the famous phrase, do you want fries with that?
Oh man.
Also relevant right now.
Bobby the Brain Heenan. I know all about cheating. I had 6 successful marriages.
This guy makes coffee nervous.
Oh, jeez.
To Jim Duggan, taking a shower is a high-risk maneuver.
Oh,
Oh. Anyway, well, those are the best ones from the top.
we
20.
need another Bobby the Brain Heenan. Jerry Lawler was the next thing to that, commentary wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
I mean, it is very weird. Like, Bobby Heenan was one. Like Paul Heyman, he got his own DVD when they're still making DVDs. And just like Dom said, it's like if you want to go back, catch a good moment in time, put on some primetime wrestling, and it ain't for the wrestling. That's it's like, I want to go. Let me go check out this old match or this old segment. Yeah, I love that. Man, when are you saying that? Let me go turn this match back on to hear the commentary. And as a matter of fact, even on Bobby Heenan's DVD, what can you put on there, right? Besides the documentary, they put on the entire 1992 Royal Rumble because they say the entire announce call of that match with Bobby on commentary is just Hall of Fame level stuff, and they're not wrong. It is, and that Rumble is very special because some would argue they could put that on at a party. Why would you do that? But if people were just glancing at the TV every now and again, they'd see someone they know. Hey, is that the Bulldog?
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember him. Is that Sid Justice? What is that? Because that was such a star-studded Royal Rumble. So and the great commentary to go with it. So
Yeah. Peak. He was the best. Even Jim Cornette says he's the best. Jim Cornette is my personal favorite manager of all time, but I have to say, Bobby the Brain Heenan drew all the heat that Jim Cornette did, and he did it without a racket. So he gets the nod.
That is true.
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to agree with you on that one. And I was in the same boat. I love Jim Cornette as a heel manager, but something about Bobby, man. You go back and watch him, it's like that dude was a master at work. He knew where to get heat, where to place it, where to take it away, and where to throw the bump. Very selfless.
he's just one of those names that
Oh, and he was right about Hogan the whole time.
Yeah, that is true.
in character, baby, always in character.
I always loved how he took a bump. Like when Andre was pissed off him at WrestleMania 3 and he had him in the corner, WrestleMania 6. Was it 6? 7? One of them, whatever. He was in the corner and he fucking slapped him. And you see Bobby's head and hair just flying around. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it was just funny, man.
Yeah, he was working. Yo, he was a worker.
Yeah, he sold it.
Yeah.
He sold it. It was good. It was real good.
It's one of his classic lines. You have to wrestle like a manager and manage like a wrestler.
Yes.
He said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yep.
That's perfect. That's
That's his
perfect.
That's his style. You notice him. You notice him as a manager taking those bumps from Warrior and whomever. He's
Dude,
or,
jumping in
he's
and out
trying
of
to
the
pull
ring
leg.
and I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
he did it all. Jumping out of the ring, jumping over the rope, jumping off the rope, or falling off the rope. Everybody beat him up. Everybody beat him up,
Yep.
and he made them all look good. That's work, yo. That's not a he's not a slouch. He looks a little bit like a slouch. He's just like a guy, He looks like a degenerate gambler or something. He just looks like a regular guy.
And he always looked older than he was
Meanwhile-
because of his blonde, his very platinum blonde hair makes it look like gray hair.
Meanwhile,
So-
the only degenerate
Yeah.
gambler was fucking Gorilla.
They said Gorilla Monsoon. He passed away in like 1999, and they said he's like what,
Oh,
57 years old.
Do you
Like,
do you guys
Jesus.
remember? Did you guys get
Really?
the call?
or something like that.
Do you remember the thing he said about Gorilla when he was in the hospital? Because I guess he lost one of his toes to diabetes. So he he goes into the I forget what they call the waiting room after the recovery room. He brings in some flowers, and for some reason he looks at a big bunch of bananas. So he goes to one of the nurses. Yeah, I'm looking for a 9-toed gorilla around here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Classic Bobby, just anything to make anybody pop.
Yeah,
If you want to see his
selfless.
his true feeling towards Gorilla, check out when he announced that he passed away on
Yeah.
Nitro. You can see that was real. That was pure emotion right there. So.
Yeah, that's tough when you lose like someone who's basically your best friend like that. That is really tough.
Yep. Well, this one's for Bobby the Brain Heenan. This is a good show, good to reminisce. And for the fans that don't know Bobby the Brain Heenan, definitely go check him out on Peacock. They have a documentary about him. Look him up on YouTube, whatever.
Listen to his shoot interviews too. He understands wrestling psychology. He loves it so much. Everything he says about the business back then, when he talks about what works and what didn't, it's all absolutely still true. It's very much worth listening to. His commentary on wrestling away from the ring.
It's been so long. It's like it's worth a revisit. It's worth a rewatch for someone like me. So check out highspots.tv if that still exists. I'm sure High Spots has all those shoot interviews.
And if you want more information, call your local radio station 92.9. Cool Ray. He will give you all the information on
Sundays.
Sundays, yes, on Sundays.
On Sundays, obviously. He'll give
90
you all the information you need on Bobby.
92.9. Where do they broadcast out of?
Your old station.
Nah, New London, Connecticut.
Oh,
Yep.
That's right.
yes. Yes.
I mean, tell them the IDM podcast sent you. And he'd be like, what?
Oh, man.
But now what we've got going on the docket for next week's show.
Next week,
Yep, yep, yep.
somebody has a birthday.
Savage?
No.
I'm looking down, but the program could put him anywhere.
Oh. You need AI for that now, too?
Al?
Oh, there's no AI for that. Hey, Strap, you should have your hair like Bobby for your birthday.
I did.
Dye it
What,
blonde.
so we can
I
look like,
Dye
tried.
it blonde.
so you look like Gato?
All right.
Juntao. Oh man! But yeah, next week is Stratfac's birthday, and he chose Thunder of November 5th.
WCW Thunder.
Yes, November 5th, 1998, and I'm gonna go over the card right quick. I haven't seen this show.
Oh,
So
boy.
it's gonna be a doozy. Our opening match, we have Canyon taking on a former guest of the IDM pod. You guys want to take a guess who it is? Barry Horowitz.
I did not know these. I don't know this
All
one.
right.
That was a good guess.
Yes. Then we have Alex Wright taking on Raven. We have Booker T taking on Fit Finley. We have Cash
Ooh.
Hayashi taking on the Cat. We have Horace Hogan taking on my man Norman Smiley.
Okay, you brought me back. You brought me back.
We have,
Negro Castas.
we have Eddie
The
Guerrero.
dance.
Eddie Guerrero's taking on Rey Mysterio Jr. We have Chris Jericho taking on Prince Iaukea for the TV championship.
Oh,
We
God.
have,
I never understood the whole Prince Ikea guy. It just he lost me after like 6 months.
Yeah.
You lost me after you got the shiny tights.
We got Scott Hall taking on Disco Inferno.
What?
Nice.
That'll put butts in the seats.
Yep.
And in your main event, you have Scott Steiner with Buff Bagwell taking on Lex Luger.
Hey, what a main event.
There you go.
What the? Maybe.
Ah.
I'm a little disappointed when you said you guys were going to review Thunder. I wanted you to say In Paradise, meaning the Hogan show. That was a tremendous flop.
I would love
Because
to.
I'll review that with you.
I would love to. If I could find it, I would definitely do it. Oh, man.
It's got to be on HBO Max.
It's not.
Is that even it's not available anywhere yet?
I don't know. I looked up shit.
It's on Amazon Prime for $23.99.
I might buy
Are you
it.
serious?
Crazy. No, I'm not serious.
I
If you
really
look-
want to go back and watch that because I
That was my-
had some fond memories,
my
but
joint.
then when you go back, you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
Come on, Brew. His name was Brew.
His name was Brew.
No, his friend was.
Let's see.
jeez.
Thunder in Paradise.
And Jesse Ventura trying to knock Hogan's like, if you want to see a guy, a real wrestler, be a Navy SEAL, come see me.
What,
Oh, yeah.
It's like
What was that?
that line goes over your so many heads right now, but it's
Yeah.
like paying attention. You're like, oh my god, what a pot shot.
what was that? SummerSlam we covered? And he mentioned that?
Yeah, just yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't find it. It ain't on Apple TV, so it ain't up there.
All right, but WCW Thunder definitely is available on Peacock, November 5th, 1998. Check it out, and we will all enjoy it together.
Yes. Well,
It's not head to head; it's just Thunder.
Just Thunder. No SmackDown
nah,
yet.
SmackDown ain't come out to 99.
Oh, okay, great.
I could look and see if we got an ECW show or something. I don't know.
Ah,
I'll do my research.
You about to get a torture rack right now. That's what you're going to get.
Did ECW have
Great.
TV in 98?
no. It doesn't matter if they had TV in 1998. We're talking about WCW Thunder with an excellent main event. The main event is a total package. It's one of the biggest legend stars in this business.
Our recent interview, Buff,
Yes.
with his wink.
Buff with his wink.
Flop that on the table. Call it Buff.
Oh, Lord.
Oh.
All right.
He's never going to call back.
That's fine. You don't need to call.
We got to upload. We don't care. We're good now.
That is it. All right, Plano. Shut us down.
Oh, boy. Well, we got a little thunder because I have no lightning. Yeah, because I'm going by the rundown. I am Poppy
Fabulous.
Platano. We have our special guest for the evening, Mr. Savage Eddie Long. We have the historian of all wrestling from 94 and above,
Tell them like
Strap-
it is.
Strapfax John. And we also have the notorious Dom. This is the It Doesn't Matter podcast, and we will see you next week on Thunder. No cats. Except for me. I got 3. See you later, folks.
Boom.